Hi everyone, this is Annie Santacoy, and this video is just going to be a quick demonstration of how to do a thesis and an outline, how to create one, because the next few weeks are going to require you guys to make a presentation, and eventually we'll start writing another essay, so I hope this will help. The very first step, of course, is to brainstorm. So you think about your essay prompt or your project prompt and get any ideas down on paper and just sort through all of them, pick out the one you can talk the most about or you feel the best about. Once you do pick out a topic or an idea from all of your ideas, you will need to create a rough thesis statement. And the thesis statement is the main idea of your essay or your presentation. After you jot down a thesis statement that you think you can write about, the next step is to create an outline for your essay or your presentation. So going back to all the ideas that you had before that you wrote down, you need to start grouping your ideas, and you need to think about what your audience needs to know about your topic, about your thesis statement. You'll start organizing your ideas in a logical pattern that will make sense to your audience, and you'll start grouping your ideas into potential paragraphs or slides. And after you do that, you could list talking points under each paragraph or slide, and these are going to be your rough supporting statements, or your evidence, your proof for why you believe what you do with your thesis statement, or your explanation of the idea in your thesis statement. I have topic sentences in here, but I think I'm going to take that out for now and cover that at a later time. Don't worry about that. So for now, we're going to cover how to develop a rough thesis statement, how to create an outline and start organizing your ideas, and how to start listing your talking points. It's important to keep in mind that as you develop your outline and as you develop your thesis, that both of those things might change. You might come up with new ideas as you create your outline, or you might add things or change your mind about things. That's why it's a rough draft, so it's okay to change your thesis later on down the line, just as long as you're not changing your thesis after you write your paper or right before you're going to give your presentation. It just needs to be a guiding principle, a guiding idea that will help keep you on track while you write your presentation or your essay. Now let's talk more about the thesis. A thesis statement is useful for a presentation because it lets the audience know exactly what you're talking about right from the start. You should work this into your introduction or near the beginning of your presentation so that no one is confused as you go along. Your thesis statement is 1 or 2 sentences explaining the main point of your essay or your presentation. Basically, if you had to sum up your entire presentation into 1 sentence or 2 sentences to tell somebody, it would be the thesis statement. They generally have 2 parts: a clear statement of an opinion or an idea, and then a quick explanation on how you will prove that idea or opinion. For example, let's say I'm giving an informative presentation on how to travel alone. My thesis might be, to successfully travel solo, a traveler should focus on safety and entertainment. This statement could be broken into 2 parts. The first part is an opinion or an idea: how to travel alone, how to travel solo. In this case, it's more of an idea than an opinion, because I'm not trying to argue any controversial opinion. I'm just explaining how to travel alone. And the second part of the thesis is a brief summary of your argument or your reasons why you have this opinion or idea. This part quickly outlines the proof for your idea in the first part of the thesis. So I say a traveler should focus on safety and entertainment. So here's my idea, and then here is my explanation. To travel solo, you should focus on safety
and you should focus on entertainment. Now, this second part should also kind of mirror the rest of your essay. If we look at the second part of the thesis again, you can see that I'm splitting the proof into two sections, safety and entertainment. So my essay will be divided, or my presentation will be divided into roughly two sections in order to reflect the idea in my thesis. You can think of your thesis as kind of like the directions for the rest of your essay. It should tell the reader what the rest of your essay or presentation is going to be about. It's also important to note that this is just a template. You don't have to follow this example exactly, as long as your thesis statement has both of these pieces of information, the idea and some sort of proof or explanation, you're good. Also, remember that your thesis guides the rest of your presentation or essay. So as you write, it will be really helpful if you ask yourself every time you write a new paragraph or every time you start a new topic, ask yourself if it relates back to your thesis statement or your main idea, and this will help keep yourself on track. So now you have a working thesis, so let's go see what an outline might look like. So say I brainstormed and I had my idea how to travel all by yourself, and I had this working thesis. Awesome. And now through my brainstorming, I came up with all these, and through my, research, because it's an informative presentation, I came up with all of these topics that are going to support my thesis. And as I thought of them, I kind of grouped them into a way or an order that makes sense to your audience or your reader. So I started with, you might want to research the area that you're going to travel, and then after that, what would you do next? Probably book your hotel, so you need to book safer hotels if you're traveling by yourself. And then finally, you might get bored, so bring stuff to do by yourself. But you see how that flows from first thing that you do to maybe the second thing to maybe the last consideration, but still pretty important. So you want your paper or presentation to flow logically. If you started with bring things to do by yourself and you ended with research a travel area, it would work, but it might be a little bit more awkward because it wouldn't make as much sense. The first thing that you would do would be look up where you're going to travel and research it. So just keep that kind of thing in mind. Notice here that my topics reflect my thesis as well. So it's really important that your paper or presentation does this. You can see, remember earlier I said that my proof for my idea is split into two parts. So to travel solo, a traveler should focus on safety and they should focus on entertainment. So you can see here that that's like the roadmap. So I have research the travel area and book safer hotels, and that is the safety, and then bring things to do by yourself is the entertainment aspect. But your thesis statement should always reflect the topics in your essay or your presentation, and it's the same for the other way around as well. So after you've got your main topics, then we're going to move on and add more detail to your outline. So I've added some more bullet points to my outline. As you can see, I've changed the list a little bit. Up here is my working thesis statement, and these are my main topics. So if it was an essay, these would be my paragraphs or like sections, and for a presentation, it's the same way. And these extra details under here are just going to be my evidence or my proof to support these ideas. So it's like the same process over and over again, you just get more specific. So now we think about what I mean by researching the travel area. When I say that, in order to be safe, you don't want to get lost, you don't want to fall victim to pickpockets, and you can see that I've done the same for the other topics as well. So that's it. That's a basic essay outline or presentation outline. It's your working thesis, your main ideas to support that thesis, and the evidence that supports your main ideas. And everything has to tie back to your thesis statement. And even if you're not going to read
an essay in your presentation, it still could be useful to have a thesis statement because it helps keep your ideas organized and it keeps you on track. And your outline can be as general or as specific as you want it to be, although it would probably be a lot more helpful to you to make your outline as detailed as you can in order to get your thoughts in order before you give your presentation.